Good morning, everyone. Wow, a morning stream. It's pretty rare. Let me get a mic check. Do I sound all right? Not great. Using the Bluetooth headphones once again. Probably going to be the new norm, unfortunately, but do I sound all right? Can y'all hear me? Do I sound clear? Just get some confirmation on that, and then we can get to the meat and potatoes, to the important stuff. Because I am quite pissed off, if I'm being honest. I think I can hear myself. Clear, yes. Okay. Thank you, A plus mods. We love A plus mods, and we love everyone here. Just want to give I'll give shout outs real quick. Got Khalid here. Oh, I'm saying that right, Khalid. Got Kumar here. I think I saw someone else earlier, but might be wrong. All right. For those of you who have been looking at social media recently, me, I'm mainly a Twitter guy. I don't know where you guys look at your social media, but at least on Twitter, there's been an image that's been spreading around for the past couple days. Maybe not a couple days, but at least since yesterday. And I've been on a fucking crusade in regards to them. But let me pull up. Let's see. Is Firefox going to be difficult with me? Oh, there we go. All right. So right here we have a tweet from Stealth40K. Now he's not the only person that's done this, but he's one of them. So he's our victim here. Sorry to Stealth, but you spread the same bullshit, and I'm going to treat everyone equally on this. So we have an image here, and it's a Reddit screenshot of a GBA temp screenshot. They did link the post in this, but it really doesn't matter. I don't think this person has said anything as like an update to it. So we're just gonna read from this Twitter post or from this Twitter post of a Reddit screenshot of a GBA temp screenshot. Should work out fine. So some hackers got their hands on Switch 2. MIG Switch tested, and it immediately locks out the Switch 2, turning it into a brick, ends up boot looping. Okay, starting out pretty fucking strong here. Let's continue. Testers that prod the flash storage of the ROM chip, it immediately locks out the Switch 2, turning it into a brick. Switch 2 has some weird protection that it can detect voltage changes that tools cause when scanning the chips, even when it is minor. Unless an exploit is found and doesn't result in a brick when implemented, it won't happen in a long time. I know 3 testers that were working on hardware and software modding and know what they were doing just fine, that any work immediately bricks it, and Nintendo gave a troubleshooting step to reload the firmware from SD card, but it stuck in boot looping. In the end, it has to return to Nintendo, and they longer no are no longer, I'm assuming what that means, allowed to be testers and then to pay for the console. Otherwise, it would go to small claims court, as it had some sort of internal reporting that unauthorized use was made. Apparently, another tester had an early access to a game and it crashed and rebooted, but no longer works until it reinstalls firmware. So it might be a sign that an exploit that triggers a reboot to run inside code is out of question, as the firmware will refuse to run and needs a clean firmware. Also, FYI, reinstalling firmware from SD card is not offline. It is a generic app that only connects to Nintendo server to get the latest firmware, meaning it doesn't allow to install a specific firmware version and no longer can be used as a workaround. There are so many fucking holes in this. There are so many holes in this. Just from reading it, I I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to start from a completely different angle. I talked to somebody after I saw this going around. I sent a screenshot to a contact I have who has more connections to the dark arts of the scene, we'll say. I'm not going to say who that is, but this person thinks it's bullshit. Now, they said that they have no connection to this, that they're not directly uh what's the word, affiliated with this effort. But personally, I would be shocked if they didn't know a person who knew a person. But even with that said, they looked at this and immediately went, this is bullshit. For many reasons, but free and clear, someone who knows a lot more than I do, and who knows a lot more than Stealth40K or Go Nintendo, because Go Nintendo wrote a whole article on this and then cited a tweet from this fucking piracy account, and oh, look at that, the tweet's been deleted. I digress. Let's start. Let's just go through there. They gave us some nice paragraphs. So let's just go and knock out some of these paragraphs, okay? Mix switch tested and it immediately locks out the switch 2, turning it into a brick, ends up boot looping. Why the fuck would Nintendo do that? There is no reason for them to be bricking switches for using the MIG switch. Yeah, they can block the MIG switch. They did that for the DSi and firmware updates for it. They did it for the 3DS, both for DSi, or like DS flash cards, and when cards like the Gateway came out, they put out firmware updates that would block it. But they've never gone as far to be the ones bricking your console for daring to use it. And let's say that they did that. Let's say that Nintendo was going so scorched earth that they decided to brick your fucking console for putting a flash card in. Number one, that has to be illegal. There's already been multiple cases showing that booby trapping anything really is largely illegal unless it is to protect another person's private property from outside tampering, and that's all it does. You cannot cause harm to another individual, either physically or I believe monetarily. I could be wrong on that. As a form of booby trapping. And I know Nintendo has in their EULA the unauthorized modifications, they can brick your console, blah, blah, blah. Number one, they've said that forever. And at least up until now, they've never followed through with it. That was something that they had it back in the Wii days. Right? That was never new. I don't know if they changed the wording, and that's why people kind of lost their shit over it. I think it's a shitty practice, but they've had it for years, and they've never followed through with it. So why they would follow through on it now, when they've never been more successful, would confuse me from the start. The Switch console is your private property, and I don't think that Nintendo had ever meant that they would intentionally disable your device. I believe the implication is that we will remove the unauthorized modifications if we can, and if that leads to your console getting bricked because of the way that you did it, that's on you. I'm fairly certain that that is how they intend to implement this, and that is how they have implemented it in the past. They've removed the homebrew channel after system updates, like actively scanned for it and deleted it. And if for some reason, I don't know, you changed your boot title ID to the homebrew channel, well, you bricked your system because they had to remove it. That's kind of on you. But the MIG switch is different. It's a game playing only flashcard. So I have three issues with this. Number one, it's not an unauthorized modification. You're not modifying your system. You're playing an unauthorized card. I don't believe that that falls under the guise of unauthorized modifications. You want to talk about owning and selling it? Okay, that's a different story. But using it, I don't believe falls under the EULA of unauthorized modifications, especially if you have your own game dumps, which you can do with a hardware dumper. You don't need to mod a Switch now to dump your games. So this doesn't fall under that. So if they were bricking your Switch for it, I don't even think their own TOS would cover that. And let's say, let's really go for it. Okay, it's under their TOS, and because of copyright law or some bullshit that supersedes any protections against being the victim of a booby trap. Okay, let's say that. So you're telling me that I can get a mix switch, go to a LAN party, go to a store, go to a convention, or just go to my friend's house or my enemy's house, because this is probably better for an enemy, drop a mix switch in their Switch 2, let it read it, let it brick, and run, and they have to deal with that? I mean, you're basically allowing people to USB kill without a USB killer. Just buy a flash card, drop it in some Switch 2s, and bam. I mean, maybe you're not going to see people running around willy-nilly breaking people's Switches, but what if you have some asshole older brother that wants to break their little brother's Switch? and wants to do it in a way that mom won't figure out. That seems fairly plausible to me. What if you just have a straight up accident? What if someone sells you a MIG switch and doesn't tell you what it is? What if someone starts manufacturing fake carts? Pika Brick was a thing. That wasn't physical carts, but you could easily have some hobbyist 3D printing custom cases for the MIG switch to hide the SD card slot. Or if those clones ever come out, or well, I mean, there are some of those Chinese clones, but no one ever uses them. Right? If the unlock switch ever actually comes out, you could easily have people buying these just to fuck with people, to scam people. You sell a game as brand new for full or near full price, just send them a MIG switch, and not only did you not have to sell a full price game and you got paid full price, but you just got to break the switch too. This already happens with fake GPUs. You know, the GT 410s or 430s or whatever they're called, and they rebrand them as, 1080s and 1060s and all that. And there's been videos out there. I don't know if it's by design or just because they're so poorly packaged, where people put them into their computers and their computers just fry. So it's not completely unheard of. And not only is it not unheard of, but all of this news coverage of it. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of security by obscurity, but all of this news coverage is going to make normal people figure this out. The Mix Switch got some pretty mainstream coverage when it first came out, but it's kind of died off. If people now can go around and buy this thing as a Switch torture device, I mean that's I'm not going to say a whole new market. That might be going a bit too far, but that's going to make a lot of people rethink their purchases and make a lot of people decide, oh, I didn't want this thing, but I can fuck with little Timmy's Switch now. That was the shortest paragraph, and it had all that to say. Let's continue. Prodding the flash storage locks out the Switch 2, turning it into a brick. Switch 2 detects that it has some way protection that it can detect voltage changes that tools cause when scanning the chips, even when it's minor. Okay, but what do you mean by minor? I'd like to know what that means. Are we talking plus or minus 1 volt, or are we talking plus or minus 1 millivolt? That's damn near margin of error. Now, I don't know off the top of my head what voltage NAND flash chips usually run at, but if we're talking less than a percent change is enough for this to brick, I mean, we're talking a bad battery could cause this. We're talking a standard repair procedure. Maybe you bumped the wrong thing. Maybe you plug the switch in without a component attached. I mean, I'm sure that there's a million things that could cause random, inexplicable voltage changes. And there's supposed to be tolerances built in, like natural tolerances that the chip are meant to handle on a physical level. So, unless this minor change is outside of that level or within a couple percent of that level, say again, it's plus or minus 1 volt, and the intentional brick or intentional lockout is plus or minus 800 millivolts. That's reckless. That's straight up reckless, and is a straight up hardware flaw. And actually, I would argue that the same deal applies with the so-called mix switch protection. Who's to say a faulty cart can't cause this? Surely there's been a faulty Nintendo Switch cart. Hell, surely there's been a faulty Nintendo Switch game card reader. There sure as hell were a bunch when the Switch came out originally, or when it first came out. I mean, we're talking about things that, given again how they're explaining it, the, this is not something that can be relied on. Like, this is ironically gateway levels of protection. And I don't think Nintendo's dumb enough to do this because they're going to have lawsuits up the ass immediately if this fails. Because that's something Nintendo has to bank on. They have to bank on this never failing. Because if this ends up being true, if a reputable hacker, and, it's Pablo MK7 here, someone who's pretty reputable, as well as Modern Vintage Gamer, I don't have that tweet up, but Modern Vintage Gamer does not believe that this is true. If a reputable hacker comes out and says, oh my god, they were right, they're actually doing this, that could go mainstream. I'm talking like actual full mainstream media. And if moms and dads are seeing this and they're seeing that they might spend $450 on a console and then their kid might drop it, maybe their dog chews on the game card or something and they think it's fine enough to put back in the system, and there's a potential that Nintendo's going to decide that you no longer have the privilege to use your Switch, that's going to be the quickest lawsuit ever. And Nintendo's not going to win that. They're not going to win that lawsuit. There's a lot of lawsuits that they can win. There's a lot of lawsuits they will win, and there's lawsuits that they shouldn't win and they still win. They're not winning that one. And they know this. They know they're not going to win a lawsuit like this. Let's continue. Unless an exploit is found and doesn't result into a brick when implemented, it won't happen for a long time. 3 testers were working on hardware and software modding, and any work they were doing immediately bricks it. Nintendo gave troubleshooting steps to reload the firmware from SD card, but it's stuck in boot looping. Nintendo wouldn't do this. That's not a Nintendo thing to do. Number one, 3 testers. So you're telling me you had 3 testers. I'm assuming 3 testers equals 3 switches. If you had more than 3 Switch 2s, I'd be fucking astonished. I really would be. Because I've only seen a couple in the wild, and one of them was in Russia. And despite what you all might think, despite the stereotype, I don't believe a lot of these Switch hackers are based out of Russia. Not to mention sanctions, which would make anyone a pain in the ass anyways, and I'm sure that there's money and everything else. But you're telling me one immediately was killed by a MIG switch. So you're already down to 2. You tried to do hardware scanning, which apparently allegedly bricked it. So, okay, what else did you try? Because it seemed like everything you tried was pretty trivial. The Switch 2, I'm sure, is not too dissimilar from the Switch 1. Maybe try some of the more advanced techniques that we learned with the Switch 1. I mean, it feels like if this was somehow real, there's a couple missed opportunities here. And then firmware loading from the SD card. There's no firmware loading from the SD card. The fuck are you talking about? Nintendo has never done that. There was kind of a feature on the 3DS where you could insert a button combo and it would put it into a recovery mode that would just basically force an update. But Nintendo would never tell you over the phone to put a well, I don't know. I guess well, the way that they're, I guess, describing it is that these were like developers or something, or beta testers. So they had beta testers trying to hack the Switch. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it even goes to say here that it's stuck boot looping. It was stuck boot looping even after that. So you're telling me they bricked the Switch so fucking hard that you can't even reload the firmware? You can't even reload the firmware, it bricks so hard. And this is in a separate paragraph, which implies that this happened with both the MIG switch, um, MIG switch brick, quote unquote, and the ROM scanning brick. Yes, my voice is different today because I'm not Nick. I actually don't know what Nick is doing. I told him I'd go live yesterday, but I ended up going live this morning because I just felt like it more today. So, okay, none of this adds up. And I guess to add another thing, okay, there are not that many retailers in North America or Europe that are giving these out early. And I would be shocked if there's any in a Western European country, a North American country, or even a South American. Well, maybe a South American country. Maybe. We've had game leaks from there before, but a whole console leak, multiple, leaking into alleged beta testers. Basically, how are you getting this direct line to Nintendo? Where they're willing to give you this? I mean, there's so many holes in this. But let's continue. In the end, had to return to Nintendo, and they no longer, I'm assuming that meant to say no longer allowed us to be beta testers, and had to pay for the console, or else it will go to small claims courts with some form of internal reporting that unauthorized use was made. Camille, this is something we've done for probably about a year and a half now. Where every once in a while I'll just basically stream to talk about a particular topic. Nick always runs the um how do I describe it? The main podcast, I guess. Nick always runs the main podcast, but then for events like this where I just need a half hour to rant and talk about a current topic, like one that just kind of broke, um, Nick kind of prefers that I go live and talk about it. So first off, okay, had to return to Nintendo, no longer allowed to be beta testers. Okay, if this is the case, sure, fair enough, I guess. And had to pay for the console. So you didn't already pay for the console? Because that's not how Nintendo usually works. The way that Nintendo usually sends out consoles is that they send them out. You have to pay for them anyways. At least that's how dev kits work. I don't know. Maybe if they're these beta testers, maybe they got them for free. But again, you're telling me that the Switch 2 is so touchy and so willing to brick that it bricks to the point where Nintendo has to actually replace components? You really think Nintendo is that reckless? Nintendo might be evil sometimes, but they're not uncalculated. They're calculated. This is not calculated. This is uh, reckless and childish if they were doing this. And then we'll take the small claims court because of unauthorized. They're not going to take you to small claims court for unauthorized reporting. That's insane. Nintendo doesn't take anyone to small claims court. If they were going to do anything, they were going to take you to federal court for copyright infringement or something like that. Or at the very least, we're just going to tell you you're banned for life and we're going to ban your Nintendo account. Or something like that. But fucking small claims court of all places, you're telling me that they were going to take them to. Which leads me to believe, by the way, that this is somebody in America that's faking this, because I'm sure that other countries have a small claims court, but well, actually, I don't know. Maybe that actually does prove that they're not American. I actually might have had that backwards because I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo giving people as crazy lawsuits in countries outside of America and Japan. So maybe small claims is their only option in some other country, but I don't know. And also, thank you to I'm assuming that's Did You Know that's switched over to Twitch. Thank you for telling me I'm a great administrator. I just yap, but that does mean a lot to me. So thank you for that. That sounded really dead. I don't know why my nose is plugged. I'm kind of dead right now, but whatever. You know what I mean. Apparently, another tester had early access to a game and it crashed and rebooted, but no longer worked until it reinstalled the firmware. So it might be a sign that an exploit triggers a reboot to run unsigned codes out of the question because firmware will refuse to run and need a clean firmware. You didn't even explain what you did. You just said had early access to a game and it crashed and rebooted and wouldn't run until it reinstalled the firmware. A crash bricks the firmware. Let's say it was a misspeak and that they meant to say something like, we managed to actually hack the save file and tried to run it, which caused the crash. If you were so bad at writing that you omitted that info on accident, then you're not. I heavily question your ability to do any of the things that you're mentioning here, or know people who do these things. But let's set that to the side. Okay, maybe they're bad at English. Like maybe they're actually perfectly qualified and they're bad at English. Then write the message in your language. Put at the top, I'm bad at English. I'm going to write this in my native language, but I have news from some hackers I got access to a Switch too. And then you can write double the length of the paragraphs that you wrote now and have it be succinct and accurate because you're writing in the language you speak. That's not uncommon. We got hackers from all over the place. Cyrus is French. Pablo is, I think he's Spanish, I want to say. Um, Obviously, me and Nick are American. I'm not a hacker, but me and Nick are American. We got Kyle up in Canada. You got hackers from all over the place. It's not a shame to have to speak your language. So do it if it gets your point across better. And if you were telling the truth, then that would seem like a pretty important thing to do. But what I think is that this person wanted it in English to reach the largest audience because they just wanted attention. Also, FYI, reinstalling firmware from SD card is not offline. Generic app that connects to Nintendo server to get the latest firmware, blah, blah, blah. Number one, reinstalling a specific firmware version was never used as a workaround. So I don't know what he means by that. Are you telling me that Nintendo sent you a tool that you boot off the SD card that then connects online to download a firmware that would never be released to the public? That would be an internal tool that Nintendo would keep under lock and key that they would use to reflash the firmware in house. They've never released a tool like that, and especially in near 2025, with the departure of Reggie and the passing of Iwata, they never would allow this. Not even in the Iwata days. But now that we're out of the Iwata days, you really think Nintendo's going to put that out to the public? Or even to testers? I don't even think Nintendo has testers out there. They'd probably be internal. I don't know what their structure looks like, but if I was a betting man, I'd bet it on them just being internal testers. Every single part of this reads off as bullshit. But here you have Stealth 40K, 91,000 followers. Go Nintendo, 74,000 followers, spreading this bullshit, spreading this misinformation. And at least they have the balls to say it's a rumor. This person takes it as fact. Here's Pablo. Everyone agreeing. But unfortunately, there's 3.2 thousand likes on this. I just, I don't understand. There's no integrity here. And shout shout out to the biggest offender here. I'm sorry, Nick, for maybe creating some beef here, but shout out to the biggest offender here, Nintendo Prime. Here's that tweet from MVG, right? He makes a video, reportedly made Switch 2 near impossible. Nasty business right now. OMG. Perfect bullshit clickbait. Perfect bullshit clickbait. Respectfully, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're damn right. He has no idea what he's talking about. I'm just reporting what's out there. I don't modify or hack systems. Yeah, that's pretty damn clear. Here you can see I put this here. Whole thing read as bullshit. If these testers are even real, wouldn't arrest their status. Far less lenient than pay for console or take it to small claims. 100% correct. He doesn't like me. Yeah, for good reason. Stone Modder. Holy victim complex, Batman. Maybe reflect on your actions a bit. You're spreading fake ass information that doesn't even make sense if you put a second of thought into it. How much time are we at right now? I'm putting a good 37 minutes of thought into it. Maybe not 37. I did wait a little bit. So we'll call it a half hour. Good half hour of thought to thoroughly debunk this. Let's see what he says. Maybe understand that not everyone modifies systems and knows how it works. It's not a victim complex. He's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's out of my depth of knowledge. Then why are you talking about it? You're spreading misinformation that if you would just talk to someone, now you don't even have to know anything. Just talk to someone and say, hey, I don't know about hacking. You do. What do you think's going on here? No amount of thought on the subject, you have zero knowledge, but didn't make anything obvious. The only thing obvious was it was spreading all over the net, so I covered it. Then cover it accurately. Don't add to the FUD. I don't really like that acronym, but I had to use it a lot because that's all this is. And people are spreading it for that reason. I think this might be about as angry as I've ever been on this channel, which is unfortunate because we've covered much more serious subjects than this. But I think this is just my years of rage at clickbait coming out in something that I actually know about so I can actually properly debunk it. Especially because this is universal clickbait. This isn't just that clickbait of one person says that something happened to them and it didn't. This is a fake story being spread around as genuine with no journalistic practices happening. You want to know why I associate with Wololo? Why I respect the fuck out of Wololo? And why I'm willing to have his name in my banner? Because that man actually has integrity. That man does his research and he knows what the fuck he's talking about. When he puts an article out, maybe he won't have all the facts. He's updated articles before, but he's going to make damn sure that the facts he does have are facts and not complete BS. Or at least if he's going to report on a rumor, it needs to be a credible rumor with sources. It would be nice for people to explain it instead, but not instead make accusations and name calling, blah blah blah. You have 38,000 followers. How many subs do you have? Let's see. How many subscribers do you have? You have 154,000 subscribers. You need to do the research. I shouldn't have to come out here on a channel with less than 4,000 subscribers, 4,000 monthly subscribers, and fact check you, a YouTuber with over 100,000 subscribers, with professional, I guess you could say professional production. I'm not saying that. I'm obviously never going to condone actual harassment, but people calling you ridiculous and ignorant for spreading this without fact checking it properly proof that you're only doing it for money. You're only doing it for views. You're not doing it because you think that this is something important to share. Yeah, me and Nick in the past have probably seen a rumor like this and spread it because we were excited. But there's a bit less professionalism to this channel. Sometimes we are perfectly professional. Sometimes Nick decides to dress up as a judge and pretend to adjudicate the case between the people and Nintendo. We like to have fun here. And at the same time, we don't put it into a 10-minute clickbait video riddled with ads. We go on a live stream and we talk about it. We have an honest conversation with people. And people might come in and say, this is clearly bullshit. This is ridiculous. And we're going to go, yeah, you're probably right. Right here, ask for clarification. That's one of the many Switch modders. I wouldn't even know what to ask. Then yeah, don't talk about it. And quite honestly, yeah, I kind of agree. I agree with both of these. I I've seen a surprisingly high amount. I don't know what Twitter's been doing recently, but it's been showing me a bunch of these tweets from people that are essentially saying that game preservationists are fake and that they're all just pirates who want free shit. I'm sure there's plenty of those people, but I'm also sure that there's plenty of people who actually want to put in an honest effort. But I've seen a lot of people who are just shockingly Nintendo bootlickers. I had one in my mentions who was saying that this is just console protection. Yeah, I'd love to see Nintendo hold that up in court. If any of this was true, which it's not, but people believe it, and surprisingly, the quote unquote Nintendo bootlicker, which I hate the term bootlicker because people do not use it correctly. There are times where corporations are in the right, but you get called a bootlicker if you ever defend a corporation. I don't tend to defend corporations. I try not to, especially not Nintendo. But I digress. That they want this to be true because their entire personalities are on Nintendo and Nintendo games, and if Nintendo ever has anything bad happen to them, it ruins their day. I mean, this guy's name is Nintendo Prime, so I'm sure he probably falls in that category because I mean, clearly Nintendo's his top thing. And then I'll read this tweet here. I didn't look at this beforehand. It just happened to be here. In the common conscience, a YouTuber is tantamount to a journalist, meaning when you recirculate claims, you must understand them and be sure they are verifiably true, or you are lending your name and credibility to something you can't confirm and understand. Do better. I also don't really like the phrase do better because that just sounds it's just incredibly condescending, but I think it's accurate in this case. And I'll even drop a like on it. I do think it's accurate. I guess in this specific case, the problem I have with the phrase do better is I don't think there's anything better to do. I don't think he wants to do better. He's doing exactly what he wants to do, and he's achieving his goals. He's getting people scared. They're clicking on his video and they're getting news from him, and they're being misled. Which is what all of these different Twitter channels, all of these different quote unquote news outlets have been doing. And it really infuriates me. You know, I even saw a tweet from someone. I'm not going to pull it up. I don't even know where it was. That was basically saying that any reasonable person wouldn't support these evil hackers. Oh yeah, we're so evil. We're so evil that when you see tweets like these that spread your narrative about all these evil hacks being defeated by the god that is Nintendo, you don't want to ask any of us, hey, person with a reasonable reputation in the hack community, I'm not saying that's literally me, but you know what I mean. Uh, any of this true? Any way this could be true? Anything here that might be mostly true, but uh, maybe with some slight errors or maybe just miscommunications? Nope, couldn't even do that. And okay, fine. MVG doesn't like you, so you can't talk to him. Okay, there's Mr. Mario. There's Sires. There's Hex Keys. There's me and Nick. There's Wololo. There's a lot of people out there that if you just sent a tweet, sent a DM, we'd be perfectly happy to tell you what we think. And at the bare minimum, you could title your video controversial rumor or something like that to make it clear that reasonable people believe it and reasonable people have doubts. You share both sides, it's fair and balanced, all's good. As someone who is heavily into the hacking scene, as you all I would hope would know by now, I immediately smell the bullshit. But someone who isn't into the hacking scene would read this and go, oh, okay, some testers got a switch and they tried to hack it. It didn't work, and Nintendo put protections in. Okay, that makes sense. So just stop, guys. I know that this video isn't going to reach anywhere good enough to convince these people or to change their mind, especially because I'm sure that some of these people just want the money. So whatever makes them money and fuck integrity. Huh. I don't think they're gonna make Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to the Switch. Oh well, yeah, I don't know. They might make an upgrade pack to make the graphics better, but I think that game's honestly pretty much complete. And apparently, it's supposed to be the last Super Smash Brothers game. Unless they made a full-on port, or they allowed DLC for games to be only on the Switch too, which would be a little weird to me. I don't see them bringing Smash Ultimate over. And if they do, it's either going to just be an upgrade pack or just hey, backwards compatibility works. A full on port, I don't know. But I've said all I need to say. I'm tired. I gotta work in a few hours. I'm probably gonna try and sneak a nap in. So I'm gonna hop off. Thank you everyone for joining. I know Blizzard Fox, you got in here just now, so if you want to look back at my long rant, go ahead. But let's just go through Khalid, Fox, Blizzard Fox rather, Aquamarine Dragon, John 5, we got Camille, Never Know. Let's see, I think I'm missing someone. I think that's DJC Money right there. Phoenix Blaze, Abanesh, A Plus Mods. I see y'all in there. I'm gonna throw up this comment from Blizzard Fox. Y'all can read that. My voice is getting tired. Peace out, y'all. Have a good day. I think there might be a Sunday night stream. I'll have to ask Nick about that later, though. Have a good one, y'all.